Hey golfers, Coach Josh here. Today's workout's all about fixing that early extension in your swing. So that early extension typically happens when you're starting down and the hips will often get closer to the ball. So that's literally what it means. You're extending your hips and your back towards the ball as you come down. It's not a good thing. All the top players in the world, you'll see their butt stays back as they're coming into impact. So we're going to help you get to that today. First things first though, you want to make sure you can actually hinge your hips. So doing the toe touch test, if you haven't done our home assessment, you should be able to keep your knees straight, okay, and push your hips back. If you can keep your knees absolutely straight and touch your toes, all right, that allows you enough mobility physically to get into a good hip hinge position. If you can't touch your toes and you're not even close, make sure you go to our hip hinge mobility workouts. That's going to allow you to actually get into this position, because if you can't, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle the whole way. So mobility first, then you want to make sure you can disassociate. So also go through the disassociation workout. It's going to help you separate the lower half from the upper half so that we're not having everything rotate together. So that's a couple things you can do to make sure you're in a good spot to start this workout. All you're going to need for equipment is some dumbbells, a foam roller, and a golf club, and some wall space as well. So we'll get started down on the floor. So we're down on the floor. We're going to do some glute bridges to start. And again, this is just a hip hinging motion. So from here, we're going to have the back flat on the floor, knees bent, and bring your heels towards your butt. So you want to feel you're reaching your fingertips down towards your heels. If you can, keep those shoulder blades, slide them down away from your ears. We're trying to touch those heels if possible. From here, you want to drive, once you're in that position, drive through the heels to bring your butt cheeks off the floor. You should feel like you're squeezing your glutes together to hold your hips up here, and then we come back down. So again, we're driving through the floor with the heels, and we're keeping that core braced. I'm not trying to arch my back in this position. We're hinging up and then hinging back. So you want those, this is actually going to keep the glutes a little bit stronger. The stronger your glutes are, then the more you're going to be able to resist going into that extension. Control it on the way down. We do 8 of these glute bridges all the way up. Hold for a second or two and then come back down and then up. So we're trying to activate these glutes all the way up and down, and we're keeping that core brace so we're not rolling the spine as you come up and down. We're just keeping that spine nice and neutral all the way up, all the way down. Next exercise, we are going to stay up at the top, and we're going to work at what we call marching glute bridge. So we're going to stay up here, and this will really test your ability to engage those glutes. So from here, I'm going to bring my one knee towards my chest as far as I can. Really try and engage this glute. We should not see any drop in the hips here. And then I'm going to bring that foot down and engage the other glute. Pull that knee towards the chest while I'm driving through the other glute. We're doing 8 on each side with these marching bridges. Keep the hips up. You can even put your fingertips here on the front top edges of the hips. Make sure you stay up here, hold, and switch. Push that heel through the floor to bring the other knee up. Really make sure you're driving that knee up to the chest as you push that other heel through the floor, trying to engage those hips and glutes. Hold for a second at the top. Make sure you're getting that squeeze in the hip. Keeping the hips elevated. Push through the floor. Push through the floor. Hold. And switch. And switch. You're doing fantastic. If you're finding this really challenging for the hips and glutes, you should not feel this in the lower back at all, but if you're finding that you're getting, your glutes are really starting to feel it, if your hamstrings are cramping up, that's a sure sign that you need to keep focusing on strengthening those glutes. If your hamstrings are cramping up, just do the two-legged version of the bridge, but we should be able to increase towards that single leg bridge. It's going to really help strengthen the hips, and it's going to help you limit that early extension. So now we're going to make our way back up to a standing position. So now that we're standing up, we're going to use that golf club. We're going to put it down the length of your spine. So from here, have the butt end of the club just pretty much at your tailbone. And we're going to be about a 1 foot length from the wall. So from here, I get my heels about a foot length from the wall. I got the club down my spine. We should have a neutral space between your neck and the club so that club's touching the back of the head, between the shoulder blades, and the top of the tailbone. There should also be a slight space between your lower back and the club. So we've got a neutral curve in the lower back and then at the neck. From here, we're going to hinge from the hips. So again, train the hips to push back till you touch the wall. If you can hinge a little more, move forward a bit. So again, we're trying to get that driver or the bottom of the club right at your tailbone to touch the wall first. So we're hinging back, but I'm not letting my head come off the roller, and I shouldn't feel that the lower back, I shouldn't feel my tailbone come off of this as well. We're maintaining contact there. So can you maintain posture? That's why we have the club there, and we're going to tap the butt end to touch the wall, and then come back up and tap the butt end to the wall, hinging those hips back 8 times here with this hip hinge and club. Inhale up, exhale as you come all the way up. Inhale, sit the hips back, again hinging. You should feel maybe a little stretch in the hips and glutes. We're getting the hips to hinge, feeling that, pushing them back behind you. So obviously we're getting into a little deeper hinge than you would for your address posture, but we're getting you used to feeling that hinge from the hips, okay? So we can get your butt behind your heels in that address position and work at maintaining it back there as well. So from here, there's our hip hinge. We're also going to work on our toe touch here in the wall slide. So I'm against the wall. Again, feet are 1 foot length from the wall. Bend the knees so you can touch the toes. We're going to slide the butt up the wall and down the wall. Warm up that hip hinge up and down 8 times, trying to straighten the knees as much as possible. Each rep, get a little straighter if you can. Inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down, exhale up, down, and up. Inhale down, exhale up, down and up, down, up. One more time. There we go. So butt sliding on the wall. We got the hips hinged back there, lower body's warmed up. So now we're going to make our way to the swing drills. Make sure with that you can use a driver. You can use a shorter club if you need to. We want our foam roller set up, and we are also going to make sure you have enough room to swing overhead and all around. So make sure you have a club that's going to allow you to do that, and we've got a foam roller. You can also have some dumbbells set up to keep the foam roll from getting knocked over. We'll get that set up now. Okay, before we start our swings, we're going to do one more drill to give that feeling of the hips staying back behind us in the swing. We're just going to use a wall. It's going to be a little bit behind us, so I would maybe make a hand width, at least 1 hand width. So we've got at least 1 inch space between my my lead hip and the wall. Going to stay in my golf posture. I got that little space. I'm going to make a back swing. Feel like my butt goes back into the wall, and now I'm going to go into my downswing and push this hip into the wall as I come through impact. So we're not going to stand all the way up, but I want you to get through impact feeling this hip against the wall. So reset. As I go into backswing, my trail butt cheek moves into the wall. Again, I've got at least 1 inch of space here. Trail butt cheek moves into the wall, and then I'm going to transition, a little bit of shift towards my lead side, and then I'm going to push that back hip into the wall. Okay, so it's all about feeling the lower body. Again, trail hip, weight is in the trail heel, my back is to the target. There's going to be a little recenter. When I do that, the weight shifts to the lead toe, and then the lead hip is going to push back. I'm going to push that heel through the floor to bring that lead hip back into the wall. So to go nice and slow and feel trail hip, transition, lead hip into the wall. Just past impact here, where you can see I'm maintaining my spine angle here. So it's a little space from the wall. We've got trail hip, transition, lead hip into the wall. Get that feel of the lower body. 1 and 2. All right, so we're going heel, toe, heel. Working on those ground forces. Heel, toe, heel. Again, nice and smooth. Heel, toe, heel. We're doing about 6 to 10 of these so you get that pattern of feeling the butt staying back in the swing. Okay? Really important. A little bit of space to start. Get the butt into the wall. Keep it on the wall as you slide into the lead side. So here, when I say slide, I mean that you can see my trail butt cheek. It's just sliding along the wall a little bit as I make that transition to my lead big toe. While I do that, my back is staying to the target. right there, and then push through that lead heel to get that lead butt moving back into the wall. That is really, really key for you to maintain your spine angle and eliminate that early extension. So now, we've got our club. Make sure you got a space where you can safely swing. I've measured this all out, so I'm not going to hit anything here. We got the foam roller. It's going to be beside us, so my trail heel is going to be right beside it. I want to make sure that I am not going to move laterally into this, okay? So I'm not going to move, boom, this way with my hip and knock it over. We want this to move back in the swing, right? So that kind of gets your hips working deep in the swing. We're not going laterally and sliding into it like that, okay? So from here, we've got that set, and then we've got, again, measure off your space, make sure you can swing through safely, but that trail heel is right beside the foam roller, and then just start to work into your backswing here. Feel like I'm keeping this hip. It's not going to move into the roller like that or nudge it. You just want to make a full backswing. Feel like that hip is moving actually away from the roller towards the target. This trail hip moves around and towards the target, and then you can actually swing through, okay? So again, this is about the trail hip working back, and then work at pushing your lead heel down into the floor to swing through. So again, make sure that trail hip works back towards the target and avoids hitting this roller. Get it back, driving that butt back behind you. From here, load and go. Again, 6 to 10 swings, feeling that hip working this way instead of this way, okay? Really important to not knock the roller over here. Load and go. Not about overall speed in the swing. We're just about avoiding the roller and getting the hips working back behind us. Keep the butt back. There. All right? So now, we're actually going to get in your same position. Now we were going to actually get this roller behind the lead hip just a little bit, okay? So I want to feel like that roller, stay in the same spot. It's going to be just like when I was against the wall. I've got that roller maybe an inch or so from the lead butt cheek, okay? So that's going to be the spot where I'm going to set up, okay? Whoops, we're going to get that set up right here. Again, we want that about 1 hand width or so from the lead butt cheek, okay? And from here, I'm going to set up a couple dumbbells just behind this. Again, if you don't have those at home, that's okay. You can put an object there. I'm only doing this because otherwise I'm actually going to try and bump the roller each time, okay? So I don't want the roller to get totally knocked over, so then I don't have to pick it up and set it up each time. That's just a little hack for me to save myself from picking that roller up each time and having to reset it. So from here, I'm going to measure off the same. I've got that little 1-inch space or so between my lead butt cheek or hip and the wall, okay? So now I'm going to try and make sure, again, I'm not going to hit anything here. And now we're going to have that little bit of space. I'm going to work at trying to bump my lead hip back into that roller, okay, making contact there. And I felt that contact right as I started my downswing. I could feel my butt cheek work back towards it and push that hip back. You can see I'm right on top of that. I'm not coming out of it and early. You don't want to feel that you're missing that roller as you swing down. But as I start down, got that little space. We're getting full into the backswing, and I'm going to, even if you have to go slow, a little transition like we did against the wall. See how the butt cheek pushes back? Even if you have to do this a few times to feel that heel pushing into the floor, that lead heel, pushing that roller back, that's a fantastic drill for you to feel the transition at the start of the downswing here with the lower body. See how my upper body will get pulled into the downswing as I push that lead heel into the floor, okay? From here, load, transition. I feel that lead butt cheek pushing into the floor. Again, I'm not going for swing speed. I'm just going for that sequencing and the right order of events here. Lead side, getting onto that lead toe and then pushing that hip back. Feel that, pulling the hip back. Set up again till you feel like you've got that pattern, and I can really feel that I'm keeping those hips back, keep working on those drills. So work from the warm-up right through to these. It's really going to help you limit that early extension, get more consistency and power in your swing.